Apple's about to release a new Mac Mini, and along with the Mac Studio, and even a new Mac Pro, there's going to be a real call for external monitors to suit the Mac OS. My previous tutorial discussed the implications of choosing a non-Apple monitor. This tutorial reviews on how the BenQ PD3205 fits the bill in comparison to the 27-inch Apple Studio monitor. So click the eye above for the previous tutorial. My name's Bruce, and if we've met before, welcome back. Otherwise, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell because this is a series of tutorials about external monitors to suit Final Cut Pro and the Mac OS. And let me point out that this video is not sponsored by BenQ. They didn't have any input into the video, but they did provide me with an evaluation unit of the 3205. In this review, I'm using a 2020 27-inch 5K monitor as a stand-in for the Apple Studio monitor with similar specs. And putting the two monitors side by side in mirrored mode, you'll barely see any difference from a distance. Out of the box, the BenQ monitor looks a little less sharp and not as bright, but that's most likely partly an optical illusion and has to do with the glossy surface of the Apple as opposed to the matte surface of the BenQ. And as a consequence, the reflection is significant on the Apple compared to the BenQ. The Apple monitor can be brightened much beyond the limit of the BenQ that peaks at 350 nits compared to the 600 nits on the Apple. So visually, it goes to the Apple. But that's all offset by the narrower bezels and the more space for the bigger viewer window in Final Cut Pro, plus a longer timeline. The biggie, though, is the price difference. $1,399 compared to $2,499 in Australian dollars. Not to mention that the BenQ is 32-inch compared to 27-inch and a 2-year extra warranty for the BenQ. So up front, let's look at the other pros and cons. The pros: the BenQ comes with a Kalman verified color accuracy certificate. The screen's bigger and the bezels are narrower. There's a height adjustment and a swivel on an extremely stable flat base. And there's less reflections from that matte surface. The screen will pivot, not that that's much need in Final Cut Pro, well, at least not for me anyway. And the cons: it's barely conceivable, but the text is a little soft. It's not as bright, and the colours don't quite pop as they do on the Apple. Oh, and there's no webcam. So number one, colour accuracy. It's the most important aspect of a monitor for video editing. BenQ is Kalman verified, Pantone verified, and the first Pantone skin tone verified display. And your video post-production work will benefit from the 99% Rec 709 and the 99% sRGB big colour accuracy with the smoothest colour graduations and a natural colour transition with subtle shading. And number two, the second most important aspect of a Mac monitor is the PPI. And this is where the BenQ is a little less than the Ultimate. 109 PPI is the sweet spot that the Mac OS is looking for. BenQ is 140 PPI. So how does that stand up in the real world? Well, the BenQ needs to be scaled by the Mac OS. And those of you that watched my previous tutorial will recall scaling has two downsides. The native resolution for the BenQ is 3840 by 2160. And to view in that mode, you may at a pinch be able to work with Final Cut Pro, and that'll give you significant real estate advantages, but the text is just too small to be comfortable. However, I was able to work well in Final Cut Pro with the monitor set at 3360 by 1890, but set it to 3008 by 1692, and it's much more comfortable and similar to the Apple monitor's display. But the noticeable thing was the extra amount of the Final Cut Pro interface that you can see. Look at these two screenshots from the 27-inch monitor and the same image transferred to the 32-inch. and the blue is the extra size that you'll see. So the other downside is that scaling is said to be an overhead with the computer's operation. And I have to say I didn't notice any difference in the response times to multicam 3 4K cameras, nor any other processors that I used in the evaluation period. This wasn't a scientific test in any way, but my gut feeling didn't notice any difference. And what about the softness of the text? Yes, it is softer, but is it worth $1,000 difference? And I guess that this is also something to do with the extra size of the screen, and that the pixels would be a little further apart. And that can only really be tested with another 27-inch 4K monitor, and I'm hoping to be able to review a 4K 27-inch monitor from the Asus ProArt range. I did test the motion blur in the two screens, and the motion blur of moving a text box in the screen was marginally more noticeable on the BenQ, but this may be just an issue with that same pixel density that I mentioned. So let's review the physical differences. The BenQ, height adjustment and swivel, less reflections, 3-year warranty. And there's a hotkey puck, which is mostly for Windows PCs and Macs using the same monitor, so that the puck will allow you to switch and use the same screen, same keyboard, same mouse. And Macs can use the screen brightness wheel, but that's a software function in the Mac anyway, so no real advantage here. However, the display pilot software that comes with the BenQ does allow for brightness adjustment, and that display pilot software is downloadable. It includes an ICC sync to ensure that the monitor uses accurate color settings. It can partition the desktop of your monitor so that it splits into 2 or more segments. And there's a dual mode setting so that you can compare differences when you change the modes from what they were previously. You can change the hotkey shortcuts, and there's an auto pivot ability, and you can also assign different color modes to different applications. So Photoshop could get sRGB, for instance, and Final Cut Pro with Rec 709. And the cons: there's no Thunderbolt. It's only USB-C and USB-A, HDMI, and DisplayPort. Resolution needs to be scaled, and the brightness is not as adjustable, and there's no webcam. So which monitor is best for a MacMini or a Mac Studio? Price aside, it'd have to be the Apple. Other than the size of the 32-inch screen for the BenQ and the 27-inch for the Apple. And you've seen how much extra real estate you can get with that 32-inch. And when you consider the difference in price and the extra 2 years warranty with the BenQ, it's a different ballgame. I'd go for the 3205 over an Apple Studio display, as I didn't notice any difference in the brightness and sharpness in my Final Cut Pro work during the evaluation period. And even when I looked at the Apple 5K screen from time to time during that period, the difference was negligible. Besides, a 32-inch monitor is just that more usable with Final Cut Pro. And the missing webcam in the BenQ, it's only going to set you back about $200, or you could use your iPhone. So what's from here? The next thing for me is to look at the other non-Apple monitors that are available and suitable for video editing and compare those. I'll be looking at other 27-inch monitors, another 32-inch, and also a 34-inch curved monitor. That's going to be interesting to see how the timeline for Final Cut Pro looks on a curve, and also how the pixels hold out on that bigger screen size. So watch out for my following tutorials to see where that takes us. Please like and subscribe and press the bell to be notified of those upcoming tutorials. Thanks for watching.